Namaste, Jai Bharat. Northeast of India, Northeast Bharat, we previously we used to call them as seven sisters of Northeast. Now it has become eight. We these days we call Northeast as Ashta Lakshmi. It is a very sensitive part geographically, but then the geographical sensitivity is further vitiated with during the time of the British rule. There took place a lot of evangelization in the northeastern Bharat. First of all, the area is at Himalayan foothills, which makes access difficult. Once upon a time, the British colonial time, they were using the river Brahmaputra for transportation. Roads were not so much, in fact, non-existent those days. Roads were built much later. So initially, the river Brahmaputra was used, and transportation used to be that way. So many of the northeastern states of today had access directly from Bangladesh to rivers, fundamentally mainstream Brahmaputra. During the process of evangelization, it's mostly tribal states. If we talk about northeast, we see Assam fundamentally, which of course was given into other smaller states on the basis of ethnicity, linguistic, etc., etc., etc. Assam, towards the left when you go, you find Meghalaya. Meghalaya is predominantly dominated by two tribes. That is, two tribes. Third, actually, we can say Khasis, Jaintiyas, and Garos. Jaintiyas are akin to Khasis, but the Garos are entirely different. So in Meghalaya we have Khasi Hills, east-west, Jaintiya Hills, Garo Hills, east-west. But the language is also different. Jaintiya language is very close to Khasi language, but Garo language is entirely different from both Jaintiya and Khasi. Jaintiya and Khasi is correct. Now, initially they had their own religion. Khasis have a wonderful religion which is very close to the Upanishads, Klaniyam they called us, and then they used to treat something like Obling as the ultimately real, which is akin to the concept of Brahman in Upanishads and vice versa. And Garas are also original Garas. They're very close to the wider Sanatana Dharma without the philosophy directly inflicted, but indirectly implied. That's the case with Meghalaya. Now you have Manipur. Manipur tribes and Vaishnavites. It's interesting when you talk about Manipur. Manipuris are now Vaishnavites, Hindus. And you look at the Manipuri dance, which is a classical dance. If you see the interesting thing, Manipuri dance, which is a classical dance of Bharat, is using Bharadamani's Natya Shastra as a base text. And the whole dance is based on that Bharadamani's Natya Shastra, like all other dances of Bharat, based on Bharadamani's Natya Shastra as a text. And the Manipuris sing, during the dances sing, it's Radha Krishna Leela. And the text is written by an Odia, the Sanskrit poet Jayadev. And that is Gita Govindam. The lyrics they sing is Gita Govindam in Sanskrit. So Manipuri Vaishnavites, they have a dance based on Bharadamani's Natya Shastra, and they sing the lyrics from Gita Govindam, a Sanskrit text written by an Odia Sanskrit poet. Then there is Arunachal Pradesh. They are also aborigines, predominantly non-Christians, that is Buddhists. Then Mizoram and Tripura. Tripura, of course, is a greater Bengali influence. They have their own tribes. If you look at all the northeast, all tribes, they have their own ways of life. Religion, if we can call it, they have their own religion, and their religion is something akin to Sanatana Dharma, which is very easy to get integrated into Sanatana Dharma while maintaining their distinct identity. This is the situation in northeastern Bharat. That's culturally, religiously, and they all live with the nature. They are very, very integrated with nature. The Bodos are there. I'm not telling Kukis are there. Then the Hajong, Rabha, Basma, there are a lot of people, and not all of them are under evangelization impression. But then hill tribes, there are two types of tribes: hill tribes and plain tribes. Plain tribes are mostly in Assam, and they are predominantly Hindus. It's their own religion. It's easy for their own religion to get integrated into Sanatana faith system because they have a lot of similarities. In fact, it's one and the same thing expressed in a different manner. That's it. Like the so-called multiple caste system. It apparently you say that you belong to a caste, but ultimately the Sanatana structure remains the same, irrespective of the kind of caste you say that you belong to, which is spurious. I believe so. This is a cultural situation of the northeastern part, but politically that area is very seriously disputed. Bangladesh is interested. Bangladesh means not original Bangladesh or Bengalis, the Muhammad Yunus kind of Bangladesh, which is under the influence of Jamaat-e-Islami. On the one hand, a group of people want evangelization to take place in Northeast, which they started during the British rule. Like what the Africans said has to be repeated. The Africans said when the British came, sorry, not British, the Europeans came to Africa, they had the book in their hand and we had our land. After some time, we have the book in our hand and they have the land. That's the kind of thing that takes place through evangelization. But Northeast is a place where the evangelization took place so seriously, so intensely, because the tribes are not very conscious or structured into their ways of life, and they have converted. I am not telling the which section of Christianity has worked more. There are multiple people, and they have converted the people into Christianity. Fundamentally, what attracted the locals is because the language which they speak, English, and the dress, etc., etc. So these people got influenced by the European ways. Since they have no much of philosophical root, but their religion is very close to Sanatana Dharma. It's one and the same actually, Sanatana Dharma only. But in different expression as we have. That's multiplicity and plurality is the structure of Hindu Dharma. Everything is there, and they get integrated. Amalgamation takes place. It was easy for them to convert them into Christianity because the rules, British, white skins, and their kind of appearance attracted the innocent minds of the tribes. The tribes, modern or old, whatever, they have a predominantly innocent attitude, and this innocence is exploited by others. Definitely the Europeans they exploited the innocence to get extent. Then more dangerously, missionaries of Bharat. That's a missionaries created by Bharat, by the Europeans in Bharat, were more in the northeastern part. They have they pretend themselves to be one among them and get them converted for their lot of other kinds of advantage. This is very complicated. Many types of advantages they took, starting from their own existence to advantages, etc., for political influence, all kinds of things. So actually, the destruction mostly done is by the missionaries, especially from south and particularly from Kerala. They have created more of imbalances because they were using the identity of tribes for their advantage, etc. This is a serious, long aspect which needs to be understood. That has changed that has disturbed the original identity, ethnicity, etc. of the tribe. That's one thing. That's cultural as it was. Politically, Bangladesh is now anti-Bharat because Bangladesh, under the Yunus kind of situation, is predominantly Jamaat Islami. So the radical Islam, with plenty of fund coming from without, wanted to Islamize India Northeast. See, there's a contradiction between the evangelist forces and the radical Islam forces, which don't manifest now, because now they coexist because they have a common enemy, that is Hindu. So their interest is this, and the evangelist agency's interest is to make it a Christian area, and the Islam wanted to make it an Islam area. Nonetheless, politically, China is interested in Northeast. The US situation, or US and China, they have something in common. They want everything of everybody from everywhere. So wherever they get a chance, they will want to obtain it. But it's difficult for them to sustain that kind of occupation. They'll never learn. They'll continue doing this. That's in their nature. So long as the regimes carry on like that, I don't know if there can be structural change. So that their political interest. Now today's Bangladesh is in the hands of radical Islam under the influence again of the US. Many things are operating, basing in today's Unisdesh I will call, not the original Bangladesh, which we are aware of, we know of. The Unis Bangladesh, they are using Bangladesh as a means of something, because Unis has nothing to lose. Unis is something like Pakistan, they have nothing to lose. So this situation is very questionable in the Northeast, and the government of Bharat will have continuous strain. They have given a lot of special privileges to the people of Northeast and the states of Northeast officially, politically, and the people with all programs, and the non-Northeastern original people directly belonging to the evangelization group want to take this advantage aggressively. They pause and pretend themselves to be the autochthones and custodians of Northeast culture, and they start operating, and this creates brilliant disturbances. And all these disturbances are either controlled by evangelization programs, which is supported by many of the European nations and funds, and the radicalism also supported by many organizations and funds. This goes on, and in between, the original people of Northeast have much to lose. But thank God, today the situation is different. They have a space to resist and reclaim their originality. Let's hope that things will turn out to be better. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Sri Ram.